Hello everyone and welcome to another video from Roman election forecasting. Today we're going to be predicting the Arizona State House. Now Arizona, like Washington and Idaho, has a unique way of electing its state representatives. Each district actually has two legislators instead of one, and so when it comes to the general election, a voter can vote for two candidates instead of one. This means that in competitive districts you could see one Republican and one Democrat getting elected in the same election, which is pretty interesting. The primary is a little bit confusing, but from what I understand, you get up to two candidates from your party on the general election ballot. So if at least two Democrats and two Republicans run, you will have four candidates on the ballot in a district. But in some of these districts that are less competitive, only one candidate or even zero candidates of a certain party runs. So it leads to some interesting scenarios where one district has an uncontested seat, but the other seat is very much in play. But I think that's enough explaining, and without further ado, let's get into the actual predictions. First of all, we have the second district, and this is a district in northern suburbs of Phoenix, so the trends are definitely favoring the Democrats here. We have a Republican incumbent, Justin Wilmeth, along with another Republican challenger, Ari Bradshaw, and we have a Democrat, Stephanie Simichek. Now, last time, despite the fact that Trump won this district by 5 points, the Democrat was actually the highest vote getter, getting 1.9%, and then a Republican obviously got 1.9%, less than that in this case, Justin Wilmeth. So in 2022, this district gave a split decision. It's Simichek is leading fundraising with 177,000, but Bradshaw is not far behind with 128,000. Even so, just because of trends and the fact that this district gave a split verdict last time, I think it's more likely than not that it gives a split verdict this time. So I'm predicting that Stephanie Simichek, the Democrat, will be the second person in the second district. Up next, we have the fourth district. This is also the northern suburbs of Phoenix. Trump won this by a little less. He won by 4.2, and the Republican Matt Gress was the top vote getter last time. He beat the top Democrat, who was the second candidate, by 1.3%. Matt Gress is dominating fundraising. He's at 406,000. And then we have two Democrats, non-incumbents, Butler, who's at 197,000, and Gresham, who's at 185,000. And finally, we have Pamela Carter, the Republican non-incumbent, at $84,000. This is probably the most expensive, at least competitive, state house race. So just based on fundraising, it seems like we're going to get one Republican and one Democrat, or if it's a Democratic wave, maybe two Democrats. But when you factor in Gress's incumbency and partisanship, I think it is likely that he will stay in. And I also think because Pamela Carter is in last place and this district gave a split verdict last time, last place in terms of fundraising, that is, I think it's likely that a Democrat will be the second person. So I can see Matt Gress and then either Kelly Butler or Karen Gresham as the two representatives from the fourth district. Up next, we have the ninth district. Now we're getting east of Phoenix, and we have two Democratic incumbents here, Lorena Austin and Seth Blattman. Biden won this seat by 1.8%, and the 2022 results were very similar to that. The Democrats got 2 points more and 0.7% more, respectively, to the top vote getting Republican. But as I said, two Democrats won here. And ultimately, I think two Democrats are going to win here again. Both Democratic candidates have cleared over $110,000, whereas the Republicans are at $19,000 and $12,000, respectively. When you're at a more than 5-to-1 advantage in fundraising and the Republicans are at that small of a margin, it's just not going to cut it. So I'm only going to put this at leaning for both Democrats because the partisanship is close, but realistically this could jump to likely. Up next, we have the 13th district. This is southeast of Phoenix, containing Chandler and part of Gilbert. The last time there was only one Democrat running, but she got the most votes. She got 2.5% more than the top Republican. So this district returned a split verdict. Trump barely won this district by 2.2%. And again, the trends are not good for Republicans in the suburbs around Phoenix. The Democrat Brandy Reese is leading in fundraising with $143,000, and the second Democrat has $83,000. The one Republican has $72,000, and the Republican incumbent, Julie Willoughby, has $58,000. Willoughby was not actually elected to this district. She filled a vacancy a few months after the election. So this is tough. This district returned a split verdict last time, but the Democrats are ahead in fundraising. Although I don't think Gonzalez is ahead enough in fundraising to mean that both of these seats are going to go Democratic. So while I think Brandy Reese is more likely than anyone else, I think you're going to see either of one of the Republicans take back this seat. Although I'm only tilting it in their favor, meaning this is a toss-up seat. Up next, we have the 16th district, and we're finally getting a little bit further away from Phoenix. This is in southern Maricopa County, and it extends down to suburbs and exurbs west of Tucson. We only have one Democrat running here, so it's uncontested for one Republican, and Trump won the seat by 5.8%. In 2022, the top Republican beat the top Democrat by 4.4%, but it was a split verdict. Surprisingly, the person who's leading fundraising is the only non-incumbent in this race, Republican Chris Lopez at 103,000, and Teresa Martinez, the other Republican incumbent, is just behind at 101,000. Finally, you have Keith Seaman, the incumbent Democrat, at 76,000. So I'm not sure which Republican is going to win, probably Martinez, but I think even though he's down a little bit in fundraising, this district split the vote last time. I think they will split it this time, but this is another toss-up seat. But even so, I am tilting it in favor of Keith Seaman. Now we have the 17th district. This is east of Tucson, and we have, again, only one Democrat running here, Kevin Volk, and we have two Republican incumbents, Rachel Jones and Cory McGarr. Now, I'm actually going to have this as a Democratic pickup, although it's only a toss-up. I'm tilting it, and I'll tell you why. Volk, the Democratic challenger, has raised $282,000. The Republicans are at 67 and 75,000. So that alone should make this more than tilt. However, this seat voted for Trump by 9.2%. So with that information, you're probably thinking I'm biased giving this to a Democrat. But when you look at the 2022 midterms, the Democrat was incredibly close to getting in here. The two Republicans beat them by 1.3% and 0.8%. So it's very possible for a Democrat to win this district, as we saw in 2022. And I think with this fundraising advantage, Kevin Volk will be the Democrat to do that. Up next, we have the 23rd district. This is in the southwestern part of the state. I'm not super familiar with it, but from what I understand, there's a large amount of Hispanic and some Native American voters in this area. The Democrats won this seat by 2020, or Biden did rather, by 15.6%. That is massive. So why am I talking about this district? Because we actually have a Republican incumbent, Michelle Pena. She's the only Republican running here, so the Democrat incumbent, Mariana Sandoval, is presumably uncontested. But Pena was actually able to win in 2022, getting only 2.3% less than the top Democratic vote getter. The Democrats are outraising her a bit in fundraising, 76 and 74,000 to her 47,000. But still, the fact that she's an incumbent in such a Democratic district means she must be doing something right. So for that reason, it's only a tilt. This is a toss-up. I would not be surprised if she were taken out, but I think she will narrowly hang on. Finally, we have the 27th district, and this is also northwest of Phoenix. It has the municipality of Peoria. We have one Democrat, Deborah Howard, running against two Republicans, Lisa Fink and Tony Rivero. None of these candidates are incumbents. The Democrat certainly wants to make this competitive, despite the fact that Trump won this seat by 10.3%. She has 139,000 compared to Fink's 37,000 and Rivero's 50,000. Even worse for the Republicans, the candidate Rivero has spent virtually all of his money at this point. So if Howard can get the right sort of vibes for this district, as we just saw in the 23rd district, some of these districts that went one way for a presidential candidate in for one of the seats seem to be willing to go for a candidate of another party. So I definitely think it's possible in this case. But if you look at the 2022 results, Republicans did much better. They both beat the top Democrat by 3.8%, almost double the case in the 23rd district. So for that reason, I am still going to tilt the second seat in favor of the Republicans, but I would not be surprised if the Democrat Deborah Howard was able to win this seat. So because I'm not able to assign a different rating for two different candidates of the same party, this final count here is a little off. There should be 26 safe seats for the Republicans and 3 tilt seats for the Republicans, so there's only 5 toss-up races, but this leaves the Arizona House with a split verdict. We have 30 seats for the Democrats, 30 seats for the Republicans. Because they have the governorship, this is effectively control for the Democrats. But that's going to be it. This was an unorthodox prediction video to make because of the two candidate dynamic. So let me know if you found it interesting and if you knew Arizona did this beforehand. I'll be coming to you with more predictions soon. This has been Roman Election Forecasting. Have a good day.